Today's review, we will be looking at what is probably Robert Duvall's best performance. It is his crowning achievement, the film that he won the Oscar for. And it is also probably the best film that he's starred in, like being the protagonist. Now, this isn't going to be as good as the Godfather films or Apocalypse Now, but he wasn't the lead in those like he is in Tender Mercies. This is it is kind of formulaic, like most other films about famous musicians are. But the thing that really separates Tender Mercies from most others is just simply how well everything in this works, how perfect everything is. A thing can a movie can be flawless, like, but unless they don't take any chances or they don't try anything, then who cares, right? If they take the easy way out for everything, then being flawless really doesn't really won't be that big a deal. That's one of the things. That's one of my gripes about the movie Lady Bird from 2017 was that it didn't really have a lot of flaws to it, but it was just so cookie cutter and it took no chances, took no risks. In Tender Mercies, lots of risks are taken, and there are no flaws to really worry about. So let's get right into the film, see exactly why Robert Duvall won the Oscar for this, and why this is such an endearing film after all these years. So Duvall plays a country singer named Max Sledge, and right away Duvall, the way that Robert Duvall is able to get into the character is great. Robert Duvall isn't a singer or a musician. He had to learn. If I'm not mistaken, he had to learn from scratch how to sing and how to play the guitar. And he's able to do so in the movie perfectly fine. Like what we see in the film, that's really him playing. That's really him singing. But okay, it's Robert Duvall. He's talented beyond belief. So yeah, he probably had an easy time with the music part of this. So yeah, it's all good. Like it's okay the way that everything really turned out. So yeah, I would call Robert Duvall's performance in this probably the best performance of 1983, and that's taking into consideration Fanny and Alexander and Scarface and Terms of Endearment, which I didn't even like. I didn't even like Terms of Endearment, but yeah, Robert Duvall, best performance of 1983. So Max Sledge, who is obviously the Duvall character, as I said, um, he has a violent behavior and he has lots of alcohol abuse, and he's hitting rock bottom. The movie opens up with him in a violent confrontation at a motel, and yeah, it's like we get to learn more about his past and how violent of an individual he was. But aside from that one scene at the very beginning, the whole film is him very calm and cool, and really trying to hold everything together, trying to be a better person. That's what the whole movie's about. It's about personal redemption. One of the things that's great about this is you don't really associate really calm performances with the great ones. Usually, when people think about great performances, they think about people that like scream and cry. But you can really see in his eyes just how deep everything is, and yeah, he doesn't throw any massive fits, and he doesn't scream, but but he's still able to deliver something that's so profound and so moving. Simply put, Robert Duvall was the guy to pull it off. Because he shows so much just in his face alone. Now he's not a good looking guy or anything. He's pretty ugly, but yeah, he's just able to do so much with his nuances, despite not being able to really do what most people associate with an overpowering performance. But it's not just Duvall that's great. The whole cast is magnificent. But it is Duvall that holds everything together, and the whole thing does hinge on his performance. But everything else in the film is perfectly fine, as is. Is he better in this than he was back in 1980s The Great Santini? I don't know, tough to say really. One in the Great Santini, he is more intense. He does scream and everything. So yeah, you have opposite ends of the spectrum. So yeah, whichever one you like more. If you'd rather see more intensity in a performance, like more wildness, then yeah, The Great Santini will be the better film for you. But if you think that it's more calm, subdued performance that should get more recognition, then Tender Mercies is going to be the one for you. But either way, they're both totally fine. Yeah, everyone else in the film is really good. Tess Harper, who plays Duvall's wife in this, and Alan Hubbard, who's Duvall's stepson. They're pretty much one-hit wonders. Like, I'm sure they did a couple of other things. Well, I know Tess Harper has. She did The Man in the Moon in 1991. But this is what they're best known for. Wilford Brimley has a brief performance in this, and he's really good. Betty Buckley and Ellen Barkin also have performances in this, and they're also mighty fine. So when the movie opens up with that confrontation in the motel, as I mentioned earlier, the Tess Harper and Alan Hubbard, whose names in the film are Rosalie and Sonny, witness the whole thing. Well, they can just hear everything through because it's nighttime, doors are closed, windows are shut, blinds are closed. But yeah, they witness everything. Mac is broke, and the next day he vows to clean up everything, and because he just wants to really do well by this motel owner and clean up everything just so that he can really make a fair exchange. He cleans and she doesn't charge him for anything. And he vows not to drink anymore afterwards. 2 months end up passing, and yeah, Mac and Rosalie decide to get married. Now, yeah, it may seem kind of sudden for them to get married, but come on, 2 months pass by, and we don't really get to see the blossoming relationship in those 2 months. Because if they would have really tried to focus in on the blooming love story between them two, it probably would have turned out to be kind of formulaic. Maybe I wouldn't have minded if they would have shown more of a blossoming romance between them. But the movie it's pretty picky with what they want to show, and yeah, I can see them just going straight to them getting engaged. They don't even show the wedding ceremony, and but you know what? That's fine. It's fine. So yeah, Sonny and Rosalie, they don't even know that Mac is a former major country star. They just love him for who he is, and that's really good. yeah, and the fact that Mac is such a hardcore drinker, we never get to see any of his withdrawals because then he probably would have become more of a stereotypical performance of like screaming and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, anything that seems sudden in this, just just give it a chance because the way that it's done this, it is very very well done. And it's a story. This is a movie about personal redemption. It isn't really much of a romance. I mean, like yeah, there's a bit of a romance aspect to it, but yeah, it's a romance. It's a redemption story, not a romance. So I really appreciated um, the fact that the redemption part overshadowed all of the all of the romance stuff. Yeah, the movie is all, and it also deals with family. Rosalie and Sonny, they don't know Sonny at first, like of course at first, but they immediately take him in, and they grow to love him right away. Marriage happens right away. He adapts their new lifestyle, goes to church with them, he gets baptized, takes care of their motel, and there's even this country music band that they're up and comers, and Mac refuses to actually be like do any sort of duets with them. He agrees to like be like a mentor, but he doesn't want any more music things to happen. And yeah, Rosalie and Sonny, they're lonely, and so is Mac. But everything's been going so great with them. When we get to know some more of Mac's past, we learn that he was abusive to his ex-wife Dixie, who's played by Betty Buckley, and his teenage daughter, who's played by Alan Barkin. Dixie is she's also a country star, and after a while of Mac living with Rosalie and Sonny, he finally decides to he finally gets the strength to really reach out to his daughter and make amends. And after some time, when the wheels gets turning, some things are sad, some things are happy in Mac's journey. Yeah, the whole movie, like it's a movie about humanity, and everything just hits so close to the heart. One thing that I actually surprisingly liked about this was the music. I hate country music, but the way that it's handled in this is actually really well done. If it's Rascal Flatts or Taylor Swift, count me out completely. But the way that it's included in the movie is perfectly forgivable. I remember listening to some of the songs on YouTube, like by themselves isolated, and I didn't like them at all. But then you hear them as part of the movie, and they were actually really good. The movie is so profound. I love this movie dearly. 4 stars.